seriously when you guys already said you're going to vote against the budget? You don't need to court to you.
We think that we've presented numerous good ideas, including changing the apprenticeship ratios by reducing corporate tax cuts to the last measure of levels needed in order to spur job growth, which is agreed with by most economists. So we believe we've put a lot on the table. We don't understand why they've chosen to go in the opposite direction. But certainly we put forward a number of ideas that we believe can reduce the size and cost of government and spur job creation. This budget contained neither of those ideas.
Is there an appetite for an election out there?
Not from our perspective, but it certainly seems that the government is talking about it an awful lot. It seems like they protest a little bit too much on that issue.
How do you get more jobs? Do you get more jobs by cutting the corporate tax rate, or by doing what the NDP proposed today, which is a tax rebate on salaries?
We believe by continuing the corporate tax reductions to get Ontario from 11.5% to 10% by next year is the way that we need to do it. That's been agreed upon by a number of economists, including Jack Mintz from the University of Calgary, who says that if we continue with the planned federal corporate tax reductions, that should result in over 100,000 jobs.
It hasn't worked in the past, though. The corporate tax cuts have just ended up with less jobs.
There is a path of job creation in the rest of Canada. Both BC, Alberta, and New Brunswick have already lowered their tax burdens to 10%, and they are leading with job creation far more so than Ontario.
When you say they protest,
concerned about the NDP and their proposals, which are spending proposals. Is he courting the wrong party? Should he be courting your party's support, and what would that entail?
Well, I think there's a lot of horse trading that's going on right now between the Liberals and the NDP. They have a little laundry list of items that they're discussing. What we're concerned about is cutting the size and cost of government and spurring job creation. And we've put forward our ideas that, for whatever reason, Mr. McGuinty doesn't seem to want to listen to.
When you said they protest too much about the threat of this election hanging over top, do you think the Liberals are perhaps softening people up that they do want an election on this budget?
Well, they seem to be out there on the campaign trail kissing babies and talking a lot about how much they don't want an election. That usually signals that they do.
How concerned are you about the extent to which the Liberals are proposing up with the NDP on discussing changes to the budget?
We're not really concerned about that. As I said, they have a whole laundry list of items that they're discussing. We're out there speaking to people across Ontario, using this constituency week to do that, to talk about jobs in our economy, getting the best ideas we can from our community, and we'll continue to put those forward.
No, but aren't you concerned that that could actually lead to a budget that has more spending initiatives in it? I mean, if you look at the NDP's laundry list, are you concerned that basically the Liberals are moving in some sort of a direction to cut a deal with the NDP and then end up with a budget that looks far more NDP-ish than BC-ish?
Well, that's really why we came out very early on to say that we wouldn't be able to support this budget because we don't believe it controls the size and cost of government. We believe that it doesn't cut spending the way it needs to in order to balance the budget by 2017-18. We believe their targets are unrealistic and unattainable, and that's why we've already indicated we're not going to support it. So any further changes that they make will probably even make it more unsupportable.
A couple more questions?
Funding those subways, just what level of government should fund the subways?
Well, there certainly is a contribution that can be made by the provincial government, but we certainly believe that any funding that was going to go should have been tied to making it subway funding in the first place, so that we believe that that is the way that we need to go in order to have a system that is sustainable and permanent and isn't going to cost us more money in the long run.
But when you look at the subway funding, operational and or capital costs of subways in Toronto, there's one major partner that's missing, and that is, unlike anywhere else in the G20, there isn't any federal money going towards public transportation in the GTA or Toronto.
Well, there certainly is some federal money that has been used for other purposes, but certainly there is a responsibility, primarily the provincial and the municipal government.
But if you look at it, any other subway in Canada, or North America, or the G20, the responsibility that's missing is federal contributions. Everyone else contributes capital costs to building projects, public transportation projects in large cities, and that is not happening in Toronto. So really, the absent partner here is Ottawa. Are you calling on them to help with capital costs of Toronto?
Well, there certainly was the original agreement with respect to the extension of Highway 407 that called upon the federal government to help with respect to the budget of the subway going up to York University in exchange for the province to extend 407 out to Highway 35 and 115. So there has been some discussions that have happened there. We'll see whether we get on the subway issue, whether we can move forward with that. Then that will be the time to discuss it with the federal government if necessary.